Hi, everybody, and welcome to Gloria Jean's I Want Simonis Ride the Nine Tour. Wow. So we are here. I'm just doing last second paste here. We are here with living legend, Mr. Keith McCready. And I cannot tell you how incredibly excited I am to have him here. Wow. Uh, Keith, welcome first and foremost, and thank you so much for doing this interview with me. This is raw and live, by the way. This is going to give you some insight into the color of money, how things started. We're going to hear some stories about life, uh, and uh, we're basically just going to be talking. There's really not much that Keith is not going to say. Pretty much nothing is off limits. If you have a question, please put your question in the comment section, and be respectful, please. And Keith will answer your questions as best we can. We don't want to interrupt him telling a story. I know I definitely want to hear it. I'm sure you do too. So again, thank you, Keith, for joining us. It's such
Here,
a
that
pleasure
was
to see you.
on for a reason.
What is that?
No, Jenny came in and turned the light off. Can you see me okay?
Oh, can see you fine. Sure. And
Okay.
hi to Jenny.
Okay.
um, all right. So, um, uh, so I'm hoping that people are directing to the I Want Simonis page because a lot of people were asking, but I did not have time to get back to them. So I'm asking everybody if you can, please take this and share this. Let me see if I can actually take this and put this on Keith. Keith, is it okay would I to share this on your page so that
That's
your
fine.
friends? Okay, let me see if I can do that. Yep, I can. All right, so hopefully this helps out a little bit. All right, hold on one second. Sorry, everybody. I just want to be 100% sure. I keep getting messages and messages in here, and I want to make sure that the people who are asking are whoa, that's loud, are able to view this. Alrighty. All right. All right, so here we go. So I'm sharing this on Keith's page, everybody. So all right. I just wrote live and raw just so your friends there can get a view. There we go. So sorry everybody about that. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't able to answer all the messages that I had received. So, Keith, I don't know where to start because this has been such an amazing journey for you. But I'd like to know first and foremost how you had gotten the role in the color of money.
Well, I got the role. Everybody sort of knew that there was going to be a movie coming out. And so everybody in the pool world was a little keyed up for all of that. But I had the US Open where we all knew that the movie people were going to show up out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was over there in Norfolk, Virginia, and this is over there at Barry's old place, not the new place that he's got over there in uh, uh, in wherever it's at. It's in Virginia somewhere. But uh, all the movie people were there, and I got up there. I was playing Efren, and I was playing in tournament matches and playing Efren, and I was sort of putting on a little bit of a show. And and he beat me out of about 25 grand before I got there at another tournament. So I was a little pissed off. So the movie people were there. And, hold on, Jeff, I'm doing something. Bye. Anyways, the movie people were there, and we started playing again. And I played really good on him. And I was cutting up with the crowd. I was going back and forth, chirping like a canary, and I beat him like 8 in a row. And I don't think he ever made it past 3 balls any game for 1,000 a game. And it was quite a show for the movie people to see. And then when I got done, the casting lady tapped me on the shoulder and said, "We would like to, speak with you, and and have you read some lines for us, because they were really interested in me." And so
Okay.
I went back there. I went back there and read some lines. I read for 4 different characters, and as you know, I got Grady seasons, but I read for all
Hmm.
all, all the characters, and and I was back there about 3 hours.
And
And
how were you? How old were you at that time?
when we did that, well,
Yes.
we shot it in '85, and it came out in '86. So
Okay.
I was 85. I was born in '57, so I had to be 27. You know,
Okay. Okay.
I was 27 then. Boy, it doesn't seem like it's been like that long ago,
Sorry about that.
but it's
So
I
27
was
years old,
27. Yeah,
in
but
the casting,
I
yeah,
was
in the
but
casting
I
area,
wasn't
and
in
you're
my
reading
prime
lines.
then. But I did. He it was really funny. So I got up there and I beat him real bad, and I was back there in the office for about 3 hours, reading all these lines, and everybody else that they had came in or had come in, they were all back there 5 minutes, and they said goodbye, thank you, goodbye, thank you, goodbye, thank you. It was really funny, and for everybody to get just enough time to write down their address and uh, you know just it seemed like they just all they wanted to do was get their address, ask them a couple of questions, and me, I was back there 3 hours. So obviously they were interested in me, and they after that they I was back there in California, and I was sort of a fly by night type of guy. I was living here, living there, going here, going there. Motel rooms here, motel rooms there, or wherever. You know, and this friend of mine, Jay Hufford, uh, could get a hold of me. And anyways, they kept call they called Jay, and they were looking for me for a long time, and then they finally found me, and that's when I got on a plane. And that's another funny situation. I got on the plane. I uh, got picked up at the airport in a limo. Uh, there was 400 or 500 pool players standing in line auditioning. There was a line, and all the pool
Wow.
players were cutting up, bullshitting, and and here I drive up in the limo, and I didn't have to wait no line. I just got taken right in. They- you know,
You
it
got the
was fun,
VIP red
and
carpet treatment just
and
right
the
in.
whole everybody, every one of the pool players, it was all buzzing. Look at this dang McCready. Can you believe this? And you so anyway, so I that's more or less how I got the part. And then
So
once I
basically,
got
you
in there and started reading for real, uh, then
but
we
you were
made a little
playing
couple.
Efren. You were
Huh?
playing Efren. You were gambling. You said with Efren,
I was
and
playing Efren.
and and somebody saw you and said,
No, the
"Hmm."
movie people were there.
Yeah, they said, come on back," and
Yeah,
yeah,
there Disney was there. The casting lady Gretchen Rennell was there. Tom Cruise was there. Martin Scorsese was there.
Martin Scorsese. Wow, there's a
Yes.
nice name,
Yeah.
huh?
Martin said right away, that's our man. And then that's when the casting lady come over to me, and I never left her side after that. I made sure I got the part, you know, but
um,
we
no,
got
that
along.
was
Huh?
no. Go ahead.
No, we got along great, after, and it was just, but it was funny once when I got to the airport, or not airport, when I flew into Chicago and seeing all those pool players in line, and you'd have to be there, because they all, they would all talk shit about me anyways, you know, and and then when they seen me come up in the limo, and so when they did that, I just wrapped my arm around. Gretchen came out. Gretchen greeted me at the limo, so I just wrapped my arm around Gretchen, and just walked her right on. It was funny. You would have had to been there to see it, but that's more or less how I got the part. From being cocky a little bit, playing good, and entertaining the crowd, which I sort of try to do anyways. Anytime that I've ever played, I sort of played for the people, played for the money, and played to have a good time. It wasn't, nobody likes to
Where did
lose. I hate to lose. Nobody likes to lose.
no,
Earl will tell you
nobody
that.
does. Where
But
did you get these skills to play Efren like that to begin with?
uh,
Where did you get these skills to play Efren to begin with?
well, me and before Efren even came there, that was back in. Uh, I knew Efren in '81. See, and when he was over there in Reds in '83, or it was either '84 or '83, something like that. 80, the first tournament in Reds in Houston was, I think, in 1981, and he was under a different name. I'm the only one that sort of
Really?
knew him.
We can't give his name away though, but yeah.
Caesar Morales was his name.
Hmm.
Well, we can.
And he came in as Caesar Morales, but I was one of the very few that knew Efren,
Right.
But I wasn't a knocker or anything. I let him do his thing. And, but, there's a lot of knockers in pool, and I've had a lot of knockers knock my games. It's just part of the
Yep.
business, but,
Yep.
uh, I sort of, I had a lot of people try to knock my pool games and knock me, but there's a lot of them
That's
that
all.
like
That's all
me.
part of the industry. That's all part of
Yeah,
the industry. You
yeah,
you
I
you
mean,
learn
it's
it.
just, it is what it is. It's all part of what we have,
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
business,
Yep.
so.
Yep. It's not for the thin skinned. I've definitely learned that. I can tell you that. We do have some questions coming in. We'll get to the questions, but not right away.
Okay.
Hi to Todd Nevins, a friend of mine for many years with the tour. Hi to Tony Russell. He's my custom cue maker. Um and I thought I said something else. But okay, so I was asking, where did you get these skills? Are you a self-taught individual?
Well, I got the skills from when I was, my I was in the pool room probably when I was about 8 or 9. My dad used to
Okay.
take me in the pool hall, just this one little pool hall called Lindbergh Family Billiards, and I stood on boxes. I used to play caroms in school before I started playing.
Ah.
Before I started playing pool, I was a pretty good carom player, and I was good in all sports. and I was a natural talent. Played baseball real well. I was scouted to play ball when I was young, and
Okay.
uh, we used to
Law.
play baseball over the line for money, big money, 1,000 a man, 2,000 a man, and and I played. We played against some pro ball players, and me and my friend beat him. My friend was all semi-pro, and uh, and me, I'm just little old me, but I ran everything down. Nothing ever got by me, and you know, and we beat them guys 6-1, 6-0 for the money. It was, there was a lot of things that as far as brought me up to playing good pool, but I was a natural, and I started playing my brothers for allowance, and we started playing 25 cents on the five, 50 cents on the nine. That's where it all started.
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
25 cents on
Amazing.
the five. My friend had a pool table. My friends, I mean, my brother had a friend that had a pool table in his home, just like the one at Bob's Billiards and Lynbrook, and and so we played over there, and that's how it all started. And I started getting better and better. And then when I was when I was like 14 and 15 years old, I was playing with the champions then. And the champions back then were pretty strong. You had your Richie Florence, you had your Wade Cranes, you had your Irving Cranes, your Joe Balsas. Uh, you had Danny DiLiberto was he was a straight pool player. I mean back then, and uh, Petey Margot was another one sort of unsounded straight pool player, good player. You had Ray Martin.
Okay, I have to ask, who do you consider one of the best? So you've basically played every game from
Cole
Banks,
Dixon, huh?
One Pocket. I mean,
Yep.
you've played everything.
I
Who
played
do you
everything.
like?
Yeah.
Who do you like?
Who do I like right now? Is their
One
game
Pocket. One Pocket. One of the best. Give me the top three One Pocket.
top three one pocket.
Yes, and then top
Well,
three
everybody's going to
fortune.
say Efren when Efren was in his prime.
Okay, all right,
What's
but that
funny?
you don't. You say
What's
what you
funny about
think.
Efren? When Efren came to the states in '81, Efren couldn't spell one pocket. That's what was funny about Efren. And then he just, he started getting better and better and better. And, but he didn't know how to really play one pocket when he first came to, out here. And then he got better. But as far as playing one pocket, you got your Efren. It's really hard to, I watched a lot of big money games playing one. Ronnie Allen in his prime was. I learned a lot from Ronnie.
Ronnie. Yep.
Ronnie Allen was a master one pocket player. Uh, you know, Mike Corella was a good one pocket player. A lot of people
Okay.
don't want to talk. He got killed.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, Anybody that can get up there and bet that big money and run tens and twelves for that kind of money, big money, I consider them all good. You know,
Yeah.
it's the ones that won't bet nothing and get up there and play real good that I don't really have much time for them because you can't beat them on nothing. You know, but
um. So what are your those would be your basically your top three.
it's hard to say who was the best. I mean, if you're going to go back and you could. Ronnie Allen used to tell me Harold Worth was the best player that he's ever seen, all around player. And that's
What about
when
what about Grady?
Grady Matthews,
Yeah.
Grady, Grady was good. When Grady
Okay.
was good,
Okay.
Grady was good, but he wasn't the best. He might have thought he was the best, but if he got up there and played
This is
somebody
definitely
that,
a raw and live interview. I'll say that.
huh?
This is definitely raw and live.
Yeah, no, he back in
um,
I don't know when it was. It was in the 80s. Grady gave me 8-7, and I flew out there with my friend Harry Plattis, and we bet him about 15, 16,000. We played 8 ahead, and he gave me 8-7 playing one pocket. And Grady had that name where I didn't really have that name as far as playing one pocket. I just shot straight and run a lot of balls, but I beat him in 50 minutes, and I run 8 and out or 7 and out, 7 and out. The session was over with, and uh, I'd have to say 45 minutes playing 8 ahead. And everybody in the pool room that thought something that Grady did something funny. The only funny thing that happened is he never shot. He never got to shoot at his hole. But I mean, but that happens. You got your one pockets out there, right? You got you got these young. You got Orcola's playing great one pocket. You've got
yes,
Tony Chohan that
Johan.
mixes it
Yep.
up real good. There's you got that Joshua Filler,
Oh,
who I
Phil
think
is. He's just so
who
good.
I
He
think
really is.
who I think is I out of all the guys that I've watched play, uh, I think Joshua Filler, the way he compresses
The cue ball. The
the way he compresses the Q-tip to the cue ball, and the way he pockets balls sort of
Yep.
reminds me of me in certain ways, and I like the way. If I was to take somebody, as far as I like the way they play now, I mean, and there's a lot of good ones. You got your Sky Woodward, and you got all these other. You got all them Filipinos that back in there was a lot of Filipinos that never missed a ball.
yeah.
It wasn't only Efren. There was guys out there that could give Efren probably the 9 and 10, or the 8 and 10.
Wow.
I mean, that's how good they played. And uh, but
That's a really uh that's a really great compliment for
who's Joshua?
Joshua.
Huh?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
that's a really great compliment.
out of everybody's
You said
game.
that you had a
I mean,
yeah.
pound for pound, that's my opinion. I mean, and you got a lot of your. I just like the way he gets down and and strokes the ball. I mean, everybody else is they're everybody. I haven't really seen a lot of them really play that much now. Like that Feeder Gorst, I've caught glimpses of them, but I don't. Feeder, he's a great young talent. Uh, just I guess watching him with that big carbon fiber shaft and all that is just
Did you
there's
did
certain things that I don't see him doing quite with the cue ball quite yet, but he's gonna be a monster too. But I'll bet my money on Joshua right now. You know.
yeah, he's definitely he's absolutely
Oh yeah,
one of the
Feeder's gonna be
one of the
around for a
best.
long time. And he's gonna be hard to beat because I mean obviously he's a great tournament player and he's just getting started. And same thing with
It,
Joshua Filler. Those guys in Sky, you got your Sky up there, but as far as being able to play all tables, all games, I mean, here Joshua Filler didn't even hasn't even really played that much one pocket, and he got up there and robbed Tony, and Tony's right up there with you know Arcola and a couple of them other guys, but
I I want
we
everybody
have a
to know
lot
that
of
we're
good
going to
one
try and
pocket
get to their
players,
questions. I don't
huh?
want you to think that we're ignoring you to Sandra and Todd and everyone else that has these questions. We don't want you to think we're going to get
Oh,
do our
I'll
best
answer
to
them
answer
all.
them.
I'll answer
Um,
them all. I ain't
yeah,
going nowhere.
I wanted to let people know don't leave because your question might be answered, or you could just watch it on a restream. But I wanted to find out, like I had so many questions, like here it's like howdy, just but there were other questions that I wanted to ask because the movie, a lot of people, we can't say the word here on the live stream, but
Okay.
there were some ad libs in the movie.
Ad libs?
There was some ad libbing. There were some things that that I remember the director said, keep it in. Some words spoken that were not in the script.
Oh no, I ad
You
libbed in
you
a few
can't say
scenes.
it.
Huh?
You can't. You gotta
No,
be a
I'm
little
not gonna.
gentle here.
I'm not here. What they heard, you lucky little. That was me. Uh, that was me ad libbing. We shot. See, what was funny about the scenes was the most takes that I took to shoot any scene that I had in the movie was 3 takes, and takes only, when you, it depends on how much setup there is. When you get done with a take, it usually takes 30 to 45 minutes to set back up, get everything back in order, get the camera on the railroad again, because we were on a railroad. And so it takes it you know the 3 takes didn't, wasn't long, but Tom Cruise took 46 takes on that one shot where it was the jump shot. And then
Yes.
that's when Mike Siegel finally had to come in and shoot it. I mean, 46 takes.
So Mike Siegel came by there and shot that.
Mike Siegel's the one that ended up having to shoot that shot. But every other shot in the movie, Tom did it himself. But through a lot of work with me, Mike, and, trying to get it right.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Was Tom just a natural, or did you guys have to
Tom
work with
was
him? And if
Tom.
so, how long did you work with him?
I got, well, when I got there, he didn't look real good. And they had a table where we went up and practiced our scenes, and I worked with him for a couple of days up there in that, and he got better. He looked like a pool player. When I got there, he didn't look that great to where, we in my opinion. And so Martin said, "Well, come on, we're gonna we'll go shoot we'll go over some scenes, and you can help him." And I said, "Okay." So that's what we did. We went to Chicago Towers because that's where Tom had a pool table in his condo,
Hmm.
and so they put a pool table in there so he could play and practice,
Practice.
and sort of look. Tom was very dedicated as far as him doing his own scenes, which you've probably seen. That was some of his other movies.
Yes, he does all of his stunts pretty much.
Like
Yeah.
those impossible, Mission Impossible things and all
Yeah, those
that.
are good movies.
He's flying out of an airplane and hanging on for dear life. That's him. That was him. That's
Yeah, I'm
Tom.
all set.
But that's what he did in The Color of Money. He refused. He didn't want to have a double. But there was only that one take. It took like 40 some takes, and then finally Mike came in and made it the first try, and it was over. But we could have done that. We could have done that, 46 takes, 45 takes before that, but Tom wasn't going for it. Tom wasn't having it, you know.
So can we get to a couple of questions, because I don't want to keep the viewers waiting, and then we're going to get back and have some more questions for you, if
Okay,
that's okay. So let me
that's
just go
fine.
up here. So all right, hold on one second. So I'm going to show Todd first here.
You can't see the whole
Okay.
thing. You're gonna have to.
So howdy. When it's time for questions, I used to play. Can you see that now? Paul
You know what?
Sorvino.
I have to get my glasses. Let me see.
No, don't worry about it. I'll just read
Okay,
it.
I
On a
got it here now. I can see it.
fairly regular basis, we talk about different celebs that played pool. He did say that Jackie Gleason was actually quite a good pool player. I also know. Well, it's only showing part of it. What are your thoughts on Jackie Gleason?
Jackie
being a
Gleason.
good pool player. Yeah.
He was actually the best out of all the actors. He was
What about
probably
Paul Newman?
yeah, he was probably the best. We used to have players down there in Hollywood. Uh, we had Peter Falk was in the pool room playing and gambling. We had Greg Morris, Mission Impossible was in there. Let's see who else. Jack Klugman used to come in the pool room. And
Really?
yeah, Jack Klugman. He liked pool, and I'd see him at the track every day at the racetrack. And Mickey Rooney. I'd see Mickey Rooney. Elizabeth Montgomery. You remember Bewitched?
Yes, I do.
Mickey Rooney. Yeah, but I mean, as far as being in the pool room, you had Greg Morris, you had Peter Falk. We used to gamble with them and stuff like that, and it was a lot of fun. But
Yeah, Jackie Gleason was definitely a good pool player. And Paul Newman, pretty good too. Paul
Paul
Newman, not
Newman,
bad,
but
right?
Jackie Gleason was the best out of the pool players for the actors, as far as I know. Now there could have been maybe somebody else, but as far as Newman played okay, but he didn't play Jackie Gleason's speed. You know,
Right, right.
yeah.
Yeah. And I have some questions about the like we'll go through some of these questions, and I have some questions about the equipment. But Sandra Costin wants to know, do you still play?
Do I play? Uh, Not as much as I don't really play that much anymore. It's just lately, just I mean, everybody plays so dang good, and I don't. Be pretty hard for me to go out there and pay all that money just to get shot down by these straight shooters. I was,
Hmm.
that was what I did when I was younger. But being 65 now, it's I sort of would like to. I wouldn't mind playing a couple games for some big money, but I would want to be able to pick my spots. You know,
Right, right.
and and hopefully, it would be a game to where I get to play somebody that misses once in a while.
Okay, who would you choose? Who would you
Huh?
choose before we go to before we go to the next question from Jim Prather? Who would you choose?
Who would I shoot?
Who would you choose to shoot?
It,
Yeah.
anybody
Who
that
would you
does,
choose to play?
anybody that that isn't going to run out every game. I'd take a
Well,
shot
how
at.
would you feel about playing Joshua?
I wouldn't play Joshua unless I got the
No.
right man.
He's
No,
like,
that's
not right now.
no.
No.
I sort of got my eyes on Tedder. Maybe Tedder's sort of in my line of
Oh,
sight.
okay. Okay. All right.
If I was
Okay.
to come out of retirement, I think he would be my man.
Well,
You
if
know.
you were to come out of retirement, we'd have to get you over here to Rhode Island, you and Jenny over here. By the way, thank you very much,
Well,
Jenny.
I don't know if
Um,
that's gonna. Jen,
if it ever happens,
yeah,
Jenny, the
Jenny has her own
dogs,
business, so it's hard
you,
for
yeah,
her to.
I have to get you out here to Rhode Island.
We
Did you ever play Buddy Hall or Mike Siegel? Now I know this,
I played them
so
all. Yeah, I played Buddy. I played Mike. Uh, oh, we were pretty good friends, me and Buddy, and me and Mike. We put up with each other. Uh, Me and Buddy were probably closer friends than me and Mike were. But Mike was a great player. So was Buddy. We have a lot of respect for both of them. Uh, you know, uh, they were, back in the 90s and 80s or 80s. Earl was the toughest to beat as far as in the 80s. Earl was the toughest to beat as far as the tournament players. Uh, Mike was hard to beat too, but I don't think, I don't think Mike would have gambled with Earl for the money. I don't know who would have gambled with Earl for the money at that in that streak where Earl won 5 U.S. Opens in the '80s. I mean that's pretty strong. And a lot of people don't realize. I beat Earl a couple times, but you know uh, I beat him 11-10, 11-10. I lose a couple 11-10, 11-10, 11-9s, but Earl, when you played Earl, you had to run 5 or 6 racks to beat him. Sort of like these
Yeah.
kids are now, this filler. I mean, in order to get up there and beat these guys, you have to get in there and run 4, 5, or 6 to get it started. Somewhere along the line, in the 1, 2, 3 gap, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, you have to get in there and you know probably run a 5 bagger to maybe get the money. I mean, that would be my intentions, or the way I would feel about it. You'd have to run some packages to beat. You have to get these guys' attention, and that's in anything you do. Anybody you play, you have to get their attention. If they get up there and they start doing their thing, which they did their thing against me lots of times, but then when it was my time to do my thing, they'd get me stuck. I'd get even, and they'd quit. And a lot of them would do that. A lot of them wouldn't sit there and pay it off. So that's why it's not really all that much to have to play a real good player that doesn't miss, because if you do get up there and beat them, I mean, you might not win what you're supposed to win by beating somebody that plays that kind of speed.
Right.
If I played somebody like back in the day, if I played somebody like that, I'm stacking up some money because I want to get paid if I win.
So,
It's just the nature
someone
of the
just asked the
beast.
question. Would you play
Huh?
Earl Strickland now? Would you play? Well, first I want to say thank you to Jenny. She said tomorrow is Jackie Gleason's birthday. Also, Ava Mattia Lawrence, who's on my panel, Women in Pool. So happy birthday, happy heavenly birthday, um,
Okay.
to uh, to Jackie. Mike McKeever, another tour member from Connecticut. Would you play Earl Strickland now?
I wouldn't play any of them now.
He went. There's the answer. He'd play. He would probably play someone of my caliber, but that's basically it. So,
I,
um,
I would play a little bit better than your speed.
yeah.
No, no,
and, and
preferably. No,
no,
I
no,
would just
I hear you.
here.
Um,
I had here. Would they be? Are they willing to give me what I think I need right now?
wait.
That would be a different story. You know.
Right. Right.
You know. And
Yeah.
the one thing I'm not going to let them do is break the balls. So the game will start with me getting the break on a bar table.
A
So
bar table, huh?
yes,
Okay.
because I can't play on a big table. It's too big. I'm losing my eyesight right now. My eyes aren't quite as good, but on a bar table, I think I could handle it a little easier.
Okay.
But
I have another question.
okay,
I have Jim Prather again. How did the earthquake nickname come about? Now I think there are three names. Are there not? Was there
yes,
also El Diablo,
El
Earthquake,
Diablo, the
Ether?
huh?
What was this? Ether? If I
Yes,
remember correctly, it's so difficult to keep. There's so many
okay.
pool players.
Well,
My mind is
El Diablo from the Mexican invasion. Back in that was when you had your Ernestos, you had your Moro Paez, you had your Ernesto Dominguez, and all the other Mexicans that played really, really good. And this old man that used to stake all the Mexicans against me named me that name, El Diablo. And it stuck. And it stuck ever since I was probably about 20 years old, 19, 18 years old. El Diablo.
a- and what
El
about
Diablo.
earthquake?
Now,
Jim wanted to know
Earthquake,
about earthquake
Scott Smith gave me that name because he would always say that the earthquake might be giving you give you a little tremor, or there might be a couple tremors coming from the earthquake. Let's give it up for the earthquake, Keith McCready, because Scott Smith used to announce, be the announcer for a lot of
for
the tournaments that we played in
yes,
the 80s and the 90s and stuff.
80s. Yeah,
Yeah, he named me that. And Keither with the ether,
Keith with the
that
yeah.
was Louis Roberts sort of had a little something to do with that. Uh, Uh,
I did
and
not know
but
that.
I think that nickname came before that. But Louis made it stick to me.
Which one is your favorite?
Well, the evil doctor is the one where the all my friends growing up, 40 years and plus, the ones that call me evil are my closest friends. The ones that call me the earthquake and all that, that was at a later time. That was in the 90s and 80s. But the ones that knew me the best and that would be, uh, that I've known probably 40 to 50 years, they're allowed to call me evil. But a lot of these other ones now, they've got to come from back then, but not saying they couldn't call me evil, but the ones that were close to me when I was a kid are the ones that call me evil, you know.
Okay. I have another question from Jim Prather, and then we're going to go to Kyle Boutte, Bruce Lawson, and Antonis.
And as far as
So
the Moscone Cup goes, that was politics. I should have been on the Moscone Cup a couple few times. It was all politics, and and
people
I
had
don't
talked
even
about
want to
that.
really get into. I don't want to badmouth anything, so I'm just going to leave it at
Okay,
that.
no, I do appreciate that. So here's a really great question. This is
Okay.
a longer question, so let's go to Bruce Lawson really quickly. Hi, Bruce, how are you? Another tour player. How did you develop the sidearm stroke? We were talking about this the other
I
night, I
I
believe,
got it.
with
I got it when I was young. I
Joanne.
used to stand on boxes, and I always had a sidearm stroke. There's a few players that have the sidearm stroke, sort of like me. King Kong was one of them. Myself, Ralph Greenleaf had the sidearm stroke, what a lot of people didn't know about. But I would say that Ralph Greenleaf, and King Kong probably had the most sidearm stroke of the pool players that I've seen so far. But I like the sidearm stroke works for me. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I mean, it's not
I
it,
was
it's
always small, and so growing up, that's something you develop, and uh, as far as like standing straight up and down over the ball, like Tommy Spencer or somebody like that. Uh, I mean, I tried that stance a few times. I didn't like it. I like just doing it because I use a lot of spins on the cue ball. I use a lot of top, a little bit of top left, a little bit top right. I'm sort of a spinner. So
okay.
doing all that with the cue ball, it was a lot easier for me to do it from the side.
Now, this might be a little bit longer of a question, but
Okay.
this is one of the questions that I actually wanted to ask. Um, uh, we're at 7:16, but I do want to make sure that we get some more questions in too.
Okay.
Trying to get to everybody.
Okay.
Brad Swain. All right, so we'll get to Brad next. What is your favorite story or match from back in the day? Now we got to try and make this concise because I know that because this is an episode in itself, everybody. So we can touch on this topic and potentially uh, go over it in more detail at some point if Keith were to come back. Um, but if you could think of a story or a match
Well,
or
the
something,
one story that comes to me
great question, Kyle.
is when I beat Rosenbaum out of 420,000, and I ended up playing him
Pennies,
25. uh, I played him,
four hundred
ended up
twenty
playing
thousand pennies.
25,000 a game,
Wow.
and yeah, my lawyer friend Harry Plattis was in with me on that game, and it. But that's the game that we started out playing partners, me and Harry against Rosie and Grady Matthews, and then uh, the game went to me giving Rosie the 3-5-7-9 in the break, and the three didn't count on the break. And we played a race to 11 for 100 grand, and I won the first five in a row. He just paid that off. He had no chance at that game. And then, um, and then I played him 25,000 a game after that. And he thought that by playing by the game was gonna maybe make me dog it or whatever, but it didn't. And so when the smoke cleared, it was 420,000.
Wow.
But
Wow.
that's the game that sort of. But I've had a lot of other games that that.
Oh, that was the most memorable for
Well,
you.
yeah, well, it
That's
had
what
to been
stands
because it
out, the
was
first thing that comes to
the-
mind. Thank
usually,
you.
yeah, usually the most one for the most money is probably the most memorable, you know. But I had a lot of memorable games. I mean, making Efren unjoint, you know, it's a good feeling, when you knocked in somebody good. Uh, there's, I had lots of battles with Denny Cersei, lots of memorable games. Payball when I was 16, playing on a snooker table with all the world champions. That's something that I'll never forget. Uh, and the lineups were stellar. You had Larry Lascotti, you had Cole
Yeah, I was
Dick,
going to ask you about that. Go ahead. That was one of my
you had
questions.
Larry
You remember
Lascotti, you
Larry?
had
Yeah.
Cole Dixon, you had Wade Crane, you had Billy and Cardona. That's when Billy and Cardona was probably the best in the world at that time. Him and Wade Crane. You had Eddie Burton, David Sizemore. You
More.
had Jimmy Rimpey tried to play in the games. He couldn't handle it. Siegel played in it a couple times. He couldn't cut it. Uh, a lot of them guys tried to play in the game and they couldn't. But you had One Eye Tony who played good snooker. He was a good player on that table. Larry Lascotti was real good.
Larry,
Myself,
yeah. Larry. His
Larry
son
was
his
a
son
hell of a
Lance
snooker.
plays. His son Lance
Larry
plays
was a hell of a snooker
pretty
player,
well. Yeah.
and Larry had no dog in him either. Larry, he'd waffle them balls in, and you know, that's
Yeah.
one thing Larry wasn't afraid of. Larry was afraid of nothing, which what made him who he was. You know,
Yes.
yeah.
Yep, yep. I wish I could have. Sometimes I have a friend on here, Brad Swain. He was talking. He said, "Don't forget about CJ Wiley with Sidearm." Um, but we kind of feel as though maybe we were born in the wrong time.
CJ was a good young player. Who knows how good CJ could have been or whatever. CJ was always real hard to match up with. Very careful. Never missed a ball. You know, I'd rather. Him and I only played. Maybe once or something like that, besides pool tournaments, and we only played 20 a game, and we were playing on this real tight 5x10, and he had, which CJ played really good on, and
Yeah.
I was a little messed up at that time. I wasn't, but he got me stuck, and I got even, and we quit, and we never gambled with one another after that, But I always had a lot of respect for CJ, and and hopefully, he had, and I know he's had respect for me too. So
That's good.
that's all
That's
you
good.
can. That's all you can want from somebody
Yep, yep.
is
Is
the
respect for
respect.
what you.
If you
Yep.
gain that respect, I mean that's defeating a lot of the purpose. When when people try to take that away from you, that's when you just sort of have to cut ties with that person. It's
Yeah.
just the way it is. You don't need that in your life. It's hard enough. It's hard enough to win, and it's hard enough to, especially now, it's hard enough to beat these guys now. You got to, you got to be. I mean, somebody that's like a B player can't even go out and play in these tournaments nowadays because everybody plays so good. So you
Yeah.
can't even. The only way that you would have a chance is if they play alternate break and they play short races, say a race to 4 or a race to 5, alternate break. well, then you'd have a chance, you know. But anything else besides that, going to 9, winter break, well, you know, you're just more or less probably throwing your money away, you know.
I have like 5 or 6 more pretty good questions.
All
So
right, I'm
Mike
ready for
Mudgett, hi Mike, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Another tour player says, "What is your favorite game? What's your favorite games? What would you?" I guess he's asking what your favorite discipline would be. Would you say 14-1,
them.
one
Any game I
pocket,
can win at usually, but
any game? That would be
but
the correct answer. Ding,
I
ding,
like,
ding.
I like here. I used to love, 9 ball. I used to love 10 ball, and I used to love one pocket.
What gives you the best feeling when you play? Like something that would feed your soul.
Well, like I said earlier, when you get up there and you beat a good player,
No,
you
the
know.
game. What game? Like when you're up there playing. I mean, you love them all because you're a player, but what what do you feel most in tune with, in sync with, that you feel, wow,
I
this is the
like
game.
banks too. You know,
Thanks. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I've played some high dollar banks before, and I played just quite, I'd played just a little bit under a champion, in banks, and
Now,
every once in a while I'd catch one of those flashbacks, and then I'd bank just as good as them, but
are you able
uh,
to see the Keith, are you able to see the questions at the bottom of the screen when I pop them up?
yeah, but you know what? I can't see them because I didn't want to put on my glasses and
Okay.
with my
So
eyes, but I can
James
do that.
James Cherico
Okay, I
just
see
said
them
that
now.
you met
Okay,
him at
let's
the
do it.
Joust tour. He said, "No,
Okay.
I just want you to see, so many people here."
There's
James
here,
Cherico, hi
here,
James, how are
here,
you?
here.
I miss you. He met you at the Joust tour, funny guy. So Tony Russell is a custom cue maker. He made a beautiful cue for me.
Who?
He custom cue Tony Russell. He's a
Okay.
custom cue
I don't
maker.
see
He
his
made a
name on here.
beautiful, yeah. So he
Oh,
asked a question there,
okay. Oh, here
Mr.
he is.
Rod
Does Keith remember? Here,
Jr.
yes. I
Yeah.
talked to here. Weldon just had a quadruple bypass. I talked to him. You know, uh, I try to talk to him every week to see how he's recovering. Uh, Me and Weldon go way back. I love Weldon. Uh,
Well,
Real good
it's good to hear
hustler.
he's recovering. I have
Huh?
another question here. I said it's good to hear he's recovering. I have another
Right.
question here from Jim Prather. Hey Jim, it's good to see you, by the way, and I hope you're coming. I hope I get to see you and Sandra sometime soon. What's the biggest shark move? This is a really good question. Um, uh, we have to have a PG rated answer. What is the biggest shark move someone ever did to you?
Oh,
Oh, PG rated.
I've I've got there's uh 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 there's a few guys try to always, they'll have the
Top
cue stick in
three.
their hand, or
Oh
they'll
yeah,
give you
getting up
one of
out of the
those, like
chair. Yeah.
Charlie Bryant was real famous for that. He hit me with one of those in a tournament. I got so mad at him, and he knows what he did. But you know, people, Dennis Hatch would use little moves, to try to shark somebody. I, you know, I mean, I hate to say it like that, Dennis, but it's the truth, and you know it. And
Oh
who
goodness.
else? There was,
um.
everybody. There's a lot of players that tried, especially when it looks like you're going to pounding on somebody. But see, when you get to going to pounding on somebody, well, guess what? You don't feel it. You don't feel it. It don't matter what they do. And that's, where you would try to, end up being. But, people sometimes will let it bother them, and they'll use that, it sort of depends on how you're wired, and
Yes, yes. Kaylee McIntosh was on the other night, and Kaylee was talking about that. I want to say she's 26, 26, and she was talking about that. I was telling her, I could pocket a ball, but oh God, my position was absolutely atrocious. So I would always shoot off the rail. Um, because that's where I left myself
Right.
for whatever reason. The other thing was I never was affected. Like I always liked the camera, because of things in my younger years. But I always liked the camera, so I was never really shy with it. Um, so uh, whenever
Well,
somebody would walk by,
the camera
yeah,
can shock you.
whenever camera was on, somebody would walk by, it didn't bother me. So anybody that stopped even in front of the pocket, it just never was annoying or a nuisance. So
Well, I mean, it's something that, you sort of get used to, but,
yeah,
like if you're playing in a tournament and you are having the opportunity to play with the camera like they do in the US Open and stuff like that, uh, they sharked me a couple times. They got, the cameraman, and I had to let him know about it, but it's, you have to get adapted. That's not easy. It's myself, once you, you know, you get a little older and you get a little bit more seasoned, you can maybe deal with that. Myself, I would always want my opponents in the gravel, and that means not in the camera. I would want them on the floor. I don't. I'd much rather, I sort of want me and my opponent, there. I don't want, when you go to the TV table, the table changes. The table is looser because of the camera and the lights. If I'm playing a good player, I want them on a tight box. I want, where you got to hit the balls good, where, that good player might miss a couple balls. You
right.
put a good player on a table that's got big pockets and this and that, and the balls, you can miss them and make them. Well, it's going to make them look good. So, it's, I don't really like the TV table, but I guess if I made it to the semifinals or the finals and I had to be filmed, well, then I would do it, but if I don't have to be filmed, you know, uh, I'd rather not, I'd
Right.
rather be filmed and make money, you know.
I rather be um uh what was that? They can
I'd
take
rather be
whatever they
filmed
want.
and be able to make some money off of it.
No, there was something that you said the other night, and it was they can take away everything, but they can't what?
Oh, let's see.
The color of
Oh yeah. Well, the one thing, I've had a lot of people try to take a lot of things away from me,
Mhm.
and be just, not a nice person, and it's usually the ones that are a little jealous and the ones that, you know, they've sort of, got it in for you. But the one thing they can't do is take away the color of money from me. They can do
It's
whatever they
true.
want to, but they can't do that. And
That's
everybody knows
true.
why I got the part, because at that time, you know, I was the man. They didn't even think twice. I mean, they didn't even, when you have 400 or 500 pool players in the line and you go right to the head of the class and you haven't even done anything. I mean, those people are in line. I'm going right to the office.
Yeah.
It's,
By the way, Jenny said, "No, Keith. Oh man."
uh,
So, oh Keith, he said, "No, Keith. Oh man." Jenny's in there. She's watching.
oh,
So I have
okay.
a couple more questions. So,
Oh,
a
she
few more,
thought I was
quite a
going
few more.
somewhere,
Yeah, yes, yeah, I'm sure.
but
Um,
I let it
Mark
go.
White. Mark White
Huh?
asked if you commentated anymore. Jenny replied no. So then he then asked, "Who is your favorite commentator?"
Who is
And
my
aside
favorite
aside from
commentator?
right, aside from me, right.
Okay. Uh, it's hard to say, a commentator. Well, I
Mm,
mean, there's a lot of good. I don't, I don't really have a favorite. Uh, uh, you know, I mean, Grady was funny. Uh, we had an X-rated pool match. It was funnier, you know, it was all, no words barred. And that tape is out there. Uh, and let's see. But as far as uh, my favorite commentator, it's hard to say. I mean, I don't want to
There are
put
a lot of
nobody.
really good ones out there. Yeah.
I don't want to put anybody down. I don't want. You know, let's see. Who would be my favorite commentator?
Okay, how about your favorite female commentator? We can go back to that. Mine is Ava. I have to say,
Ava.
but Kelly is definitely
I
Kelly
haven't
Fisher
really
is
watched.
coming up there.
Yeah, I haven't really watched a lot Ava, but when Ava, I liked the job Ava did a couple
Yeah, Ava's
times
amazing. Yeah,
that
yeah, great
I saw.
commentator.
I think Kelly would be real good too. Kelly.
She did some commentating in
That's
a
what I
recent
heard.
event,
Yeah,
and she
and
was really good.
yeah,
She's just a natural.
I'm
Like
as far as commentating, I'm gonna give you one that I think does a real good job, and I'm gonna say it's Jeremy Jones because Jeremy gets right into the game with you, and I think he explains everything as good as anybody. So I'm gonna
he
go there, and I'm gonna give you Jeremy.
that's the one that I spoke with somebody about with uh when you first agreed to be on here. That was the person that I said that I think got
Yeah, I would
most
like if I was gonna
involved.
play if I was gonna play a pool match, and I got to pick two commentators. I'd pick Buddy Hall and I'd
Hmm.
pick Jeremy Jones. I think
Okay.
that would be a hell of a lineup for me to deal because they both understand pool, and the knowledge that they both have in pool is really strong, and it's like you're in the game with them, you know.
Jenny
And
also, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah,
I was just
no,
about to say
no,
that
that's
Jenny likes the way that Fedor gets down on the ball.
well, she
I
likes
mean,
Fedor.
young
I
Liar,
know. Here,
sorry.
Ronnie O and Fedor are Jenny Jones's new flames. Okay, as far
Oh, we're not gonna go there. This is
oh no 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 no,
oh,
there's nothing wrong. No, I mean it's an inside joke with me and her, but
okay.
she watches she follows them right now. She used to like that Kiati or what's his name, Jenny? Oh,
Oi.
Kelty. Yeah, she was a big Kelty fan, and I think that I think
Come on over.
Fedor Gorst
Come on
has
over.
taken over that that realm. Is that right, Jenny Jones? Fedor Gorst over Kelty? Kasi? Anyways, okay.
Um, so let's see. Let me see if I can get a couple of more in here.
But Ronnie
Uh,
O'Sullivan's her favorite right now.
Ro-
Snooker.
Ronnie, oh man, what a player, what a snooker. He
Best
just
I've
it
ever
just
seen playing the snooker.
yeah. I had a question here. Um, it was a really good question, and back at you, Keith. Thought he was the best. I just want to put this up so Mike McKeever, excuse me, Keith probably thought he was the best back then. And hi back to you, miss you, buddy, miss you. We'll be back in May, so hopefully we'll see you at
Who's that?
Bose. Another tournament player from
Oh,
before we shut down here in Rhode Island. He's a friend. Um, Mark White, best fundamental right now. Came about the earthquake. Is also Ava Matai Lawrence's birthday back in the day. Remember? Okay, there you go. How about this one? What
okay.
is this? Hmm.
Yeah, here Jenny put up there Kasi. Yeah, I like Ronnie now.
Yeah. All right. So let's take a look here. I accidentally clicked on that. Uh, Oh wow, look at that. So Todd said Hopkins played good one pocket. Yeah, yeah. He's decent.
Hopkins
Yeah,
was a hell of a one pocket
yeah,
player.
yeah. He's pretty good there.
He's in my top 10 for sure.
Okay. Snooker is just about okay. Pool. Oh, here. Thank you, Jim. To me, there were two movies that took pool to a place. Pool took off after The Color of Money. Do you think we need another movie? So, um, someone asked some other comments about, well, did you ever, so going back at Jim, I'm not going to put these comments up. I'm asking people to please be respectful. I would appreciate that. Um, uh, do you think we need another movie? So I'm not sure if he's asking.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think we're about ready for another movie.
okay. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right. So replying to Jim
and I'll
Prather,
come
there are
back as
plenty.
Grady Seasons.
There you go. There are plenty of interesting films to color. Each has its own interesting plots. It's true. There were good movies. There were other good movies. Um, I think that this and another definitely took it to a different level and really gave awareness to it. So let's see. Aside from Willie Moscone at the time, so these are just some answers. People going between each other. Linda Morton. Hey, Linda, how are you? Let me put Linda up there. Another player from the tour. I
Okay,
saw
let me
Keith
see.
many years ago gambling with a young 16-year-old Sean Wilkie. Wow. That was amazing. She just wants to let you know that she's never going to forget that. Thank you so much, Linda, for stopping in. I missed you so much. Um, Let me
Oh,
see.
is that Linda Morton?
Linda Morton, yeah, she's a friend of mine. She's a
Oh,
photographer as well. So Mark White, yeah. So I'm gonna have to. Let me see. Ronnie's playing. Brad, we need a movie to show what the old school scene was like. Yes, Brad. We talked. Brad and I had talked about that actually because um, back in the day, did you have carbon fiber shafts?
me?
Did you have perfectly level tables? Yeah.
Did
Did you
me?
have newly recovered cloth, for
No,
everything?
we
I
don't.
mean, the equipment wasn't the same.
Well, there's lots of tables that we had back in the day. We had Irving K's that were real tight.
Yep.
You don't even see them anymore. You had tight gold crowns. You had the uh, usually the Gandys. You had some tight Gandys once in a while. It, I we have a table here, but it's sort of like there's stuff on it, so we don't try to. I don't try to play down there, and the balls roll off a little bit, so don't try to mess with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brad said old school players were next level. Yep. Oh, here
Well,
we go.
oh,
Ronnie's in the quarter. All right. Ronnie's playing now in the quarters.
Ronnie
All
who?
right. Probably O'Sullivan.
Oh, he
Yeah,
is.
she's pretty good, but no Allison Fisher. Yeah, she's pretty good, but no Allison Fisher. Too biased. I'm not sure what he's saying there. Allison Fisher's great. Okay. So,
Well, Jenny will
uh,
know where Ronnie's playing
Kelly
for
is
sure.
great. So is Jasmine Ocean. You're talking about commentary here, Mark? I'm guess that's what you're talking about because Mark likes to commentate. Kelly is great. So is Jasmine. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of great female commentators. We can't take that
I
away.
haven't heard him.
Uh, would you play a Legends match versus Hatch? Uh, so I think the answer to that, I'll let him. Would you play a Legends match versus Hatch?
Would I play a Legends match? Well, Dennis isn't a legend. Dennis is still, he's not. He's still 40.
Yeah,
He's not
he's
considered.
younger. He's much younger than
He's not
me
considered.
too.
That would be here. Would Hatch play a legend match with Joshua? How?
Sky, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
All right. So let me
yeah.
see. I hope I got through here and answered a bunch of the questions um, that people had.
If I was going to
What
play,
was your
if I was going to play hatch, it would have to definitely have to be one pocket or banks, you know, some way somehow, But hatch is still young, you know.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'll I'll definitely agree with that. Yeah. Um
Tell him to
uh
think of tell him to think of somebody that's 65 who I could play that would be nice, as
Efren.
far as a legends match.
Efren would probably be my pull on that. So O'Sullivan leading into Jose. All right. And there is
Jose Perica, Jenny Ann.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um
I would play with Jose because
yeah,
I
in the
like Jose.
European Championship. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how so we know now how you got the we're gonna have to close out soon. Wow, we've been on over an hour. We
Okay.
know now how you got the starring role. We know how old you were when you first started. We know about the arm. We know who some of your favorite commentators are. Both male and female. Uh, you know, does anybody have any other questions? We know your favorite games. Basically, you love it all. Is basically what it comes down to.
Yeah,
Uh,
I like Banks one pocket. I mean, I've always liked Banks in one pocket. I've liked 10 ball. I like 10 ball better than I do 9 ball because my seems like uh, my 9 ball break ain't worth nothing, and so I I it seems like I could probably break better playing 10 ball. So and there's more balls on the table. So
that one ball makes such a big difference. It really really does.
yeah,
Um, Honestly, it makes such a significant difference on the break and on the run. It just
yeah.
it does. So well, um, uh, I will. I guess I'm going to say thank you so much. He may have retired, Rudolph. Um, oh, can you see the screen there, Bruce Lawson?
Huh? What?
Right there, Bruce Lawson. He was another one of my virtual tour players.
Where? Oh, Bruce Lawson. How did you match up with
Gary
Gary
Spade.
Spaeth? He gave me 10-8, 9-7 playing Banks, and it was a tough game. Gary was a banking son of a gun, uh, but he had a lot, and we played one pocket too. Uh, that was a little closer game. We sort of played like, I think we played 8-7 playing one pocket, but I liked playing Gary Banks because he played so good, and you really had to think about what you're doing with him, and you had to come with some shots. And Gary was a hell of a banker. You know, you got to put him up. Gary, you put him up there with a Brombeck, and guys like that. Brombeck and Gary Spaeth sort of come from the same mold. You know,
Yeah.
real good bank pool players.
Somebody was talking about his father being a beast.
Who?
Right here. All right.
Gary Speed's father.
Yeah. Back at Bruce, Gary's father was a beast.
Replying to Bruce Lawson, heard his father was a beast. Bruce
So
Lawson. Who's
is he talking
Bruce
about
Lawson?
Gary? We were talking about Gary just a moment ago.
Yeah. How did you
So
match up with Gary Spade? I just said that.
right, no, they were saying that his
Oh,
father, Gary's father.
his father.
Yeah.
Yeah, his father was a real good player too. I forget what's his dad's name. You got Gary, and you got is it Joey or Joey Spade? I'm not sure, but yeah, his father was a good player too. But his father
Uh,
wasn't
Joe.
as
It
good.
might have been Joey. It might actually Joey sounds right.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I
it was
believe
Yeah,
it
Joe.
was
It was
Joe
Joe or
Spade.
Joey. It was Joey.
I think it was Joey Spade. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Um.
he was a good player too. But I don't think that he was quite in his son's league when
Yeah.
when his son started playing real well.
Oh yeah. Bruce just put up. Yeah, Joey. He did right. It is Joey. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So like I still have more questions, but unfortunately we do have to. We had like a 45-minute. We've gone over that. I wish I
Okay.
could have asked you some more questions, but I'm happy that the audience, got a chance to hear from you, because that's really, what it's about. It's not necessarily my questions, it's them wanting to speak with you.
Yeah.
I will
Maybe you could
say
have
this.
him
I
on
will say
again
that
too.
there's been times I want to say thank you, for taking the time first and foremost to come on the show. We really appreciate it here at I Want Simonis Ride the 9 tour. I also want to thank you because Keith had seen me play, just here and there live, and has just like really quick say, Gloria, try this. Gloria, try that. And I'm like, that's not really Keith. That can't be. And I was like, I messaged back, or say something back. It ended up really being Keith giving me some instruction,
Good
which
instruction.
obviously I'm not.
I
I
I
probably haven't implemented in my game, but I want to say thank you
I
for
like
that.
to help. My new little flame coming up now is this little that what's let's
And
see,
female
that little girl that
Savannah Easton.
Savannah
Savannah, I'm supposed
Easton.
to have Savannah on the show.
Well,
So
well, I think she's gonna be a champ, and I was trying to reach out to her about maybe trying to to help her. I see a couple little things I could probably help her with as far as you know little
fantastic play at
strokes, and
12 years old.
she's at that
Yeah.
age to where she just learns just a little bit, learns a little bit more technique, and she's gonna be a heck of a little shooter.
I know. And you asked me about signs the other night. You said you get along well with Aquarius. I'm Aquarius, and Savannah's actually Aquarius too. Um, and Kat, who just came in, she's Aquarius too. So there's a bunch of us around the industry. But anyway, so we're gonna let Keith go.
I
And
wanted
poor
to say
Jenny.
something.
Oh yes, please.
This one last thing. I have these new cues that uh, we've taken a lot of pride, uh, and they're on my front page. They're made from Gary Langley. They're of Langley Custom Cues. I think
Okay.
everybody needs to take a look at these cues. Uh,
Okay.
a lot of people don't know this cue maker, but he's a heck of a craftsman. And what makes it even better, he's a heck of a good guy. And these cues are made to all my specs, and we just had one litter go out. There wasn't much in the litter. There was only 8 of them, and they flew off the rack, and we've got 8 more coming, and they're going to be it's going to be a different model, but it's going to be just as nice or nicer. And and if people need to maybe look at this man as far as if they want a good cue stick, Uh, they need to check this man out. His name's Gary Langley, Langley Custom Cues, and my cues are right on my front page. And we're going to be getting all the feedbacks from all the cues that went out. And every feedback that I've had personally over the phone, they all love the cues. They said it's the best hitting cues they've ever had. And and with the cue, he came here, and he had some cues that he had built and stuff, and I showed him what needs to be in a cue stick to be nice. I've dealt with a lot of cue sticks. I know what it takes in a cue stick for a cue stick to feel right, and he now knows all the dimensions, what I like, what a cue stick needs to be. And if you guys want a nice cue stick, I think you need to take a look at this guy. And he's
Yeah.
not as expensive as everybody else is asking. They're asking $3,000 and $4,000 for cue sticks, and they can't shine this man's shoes. So
Well,
I
thank
just
you for
want to throw
that.
that
Thank
in
you for
there for
giving the shout
everybody.
out. No, that's really honorable for you to do something like that. I appreciate it. Someone was asking for you to do an interview on the show. He had already talked. Keith had already talked to me. He says he really doesn't do interviews. Um, uh, this is kind of a special treat. He doesn't really do product reviews either, but I'd let him speak for himself. I just don't want anybody to take it personal. Uh, so,
Yeah.
um, uh, it was an honor to have you on, and you're always welcome back, Keith. Because like I said, I try to get as much as I can in for the people here rather than my own questions. Um,
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
that's fine. I like answering the people's questions because I've always been a people's player. Anybody that
yeah,
knows me, I'm a people's player.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
uh,
And I
and-
appreciate it. It really it's been such a great honor. And thank you, Jenny, for the time that, you've given, because I know that, she's doing her own thing. She's a real blessing. She's a great woman. So, if there's anything else, feel free, Keith. You know, if you like I said, if you want to come back, we're more than happy to have you back. There's still a ton of
well,
questions.
I mean,
Uh,
we
you're
can.
welcome, Jenny.
Huh?
To Jenny.
Where's Jenny?
I'm giving Jenny. I was throwing Jenny a kiss.
Oh,
Um.
okay.
Yeah. Because there's like I said, there's so many questions that I still have myself. And I want people
Okay,
to
well, we can
know
we
about.
can we can come back. We can come back another time and do it again.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds great. Sounds great. I'd
Okay.
love to have you. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna go now. It's time for us to feed the cats,
Okay,
and
and I got
take
to
care
deal
of
with the
Pops.
dogs, and it was nice
Yeah,
talking with you.
the cats and
And
dogs.
I'll see you
And
later.
all right. And you're welcome, Jenny and Sandra. You're very welcome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. We appreciate you. Even Tony Russell, who like I said, he made my custom cue, beautiful Keelwood cue. But please check out Gary's as well. It's on Keith's page. Because if Keith says it's good, it's got to be good. I'm not going to question that. So wanted to give a shout out also to Iwan Simonis, um, for our title sponsorship. I also want to say thank you to Aramis, Premium Balls, Diamond Billiard Product, the pool tables, of course, Kamui Chalk, Littman Lights, Tony Russell Cues, Illuminated Cueing Art Training System, Narragansett, and Bulletproof for sponsorship for the tour. Without the players, it wouldn't be possible. First and foremost, without the players, our sponsors, thank you so much for standing by us, and people who come on here for the interviews. We really truly appreciate you more than you could ever know. We have some really great interviews coming up, and what I've done is I've also done some people who are not excuse me, but the Keith McCreadys of the world. I want the up and comings to be out here too, and I want to give people recognition for the good that they do in the pool community, not just have the greatest of all times on the show. I believe that everybody needs to start someplace, and I want to be a platform for that to make pool even better. So that's my objective here. So, but like I said, it was an absolute honor to have you on here.
Okay,
So
no problem.
we will see you soon, and you take care of the dogs. I'll take care of the cats
All
and
right.
Pops,
Okay.
and we'll talk soon.
All right. Well,
All
thank
right.
you very much.
Thank you
Good
so
night,
much, Keith.
everybody. Bye bye.
Thank you. Good night.